Hello and welcome to your Believing Hard podcast for February 8th, 2023. I'm your host, Mario 8th. You can find me across the internet, all at Mario 8th. Links to all my socials and every article I'll be discussing, as always, will be in the show notes. This week I'll be discussing the Nintendo Direct I just watched and maybe other news from the week if I have the time. First, I'd like to apologize. This episode is a little bit late. I could not record yesterday. And then I gave me a good excuse to include the Nintendo Direct recap in this episode, so I waited until after that. And tangentially, also along the same time, I was building a new computer. And then, right after the Direct finished, I was like, okay, let's plug in the mic into this new computer and start recording. And the mic's not being detected right. So right now, I currently have 3 computers, one for work and 2 full desktop towers sitting on my computer. One monitor has the Audacity on, the other monitor has the other computer with the script on. It's a bit of a mess right now, but what wasn't a mess was the Nintendo Direct. That was a beautiful, what do they call them? When you segue? That was a beautiful segue. I don't know how I did that. I took pretty detailed notes, not detailed notes, I wrote the titles of most of these games that were coming out. So let's jump straight into the Nintendo Direct recap. So first of all, I was interested, they still have the due to COVID-19, some of these dates may differ. I don't know how the COVID response is in Japan. I do know Japan is more likely to just wear masks. Japanese culture is more, people from the I don't know how to say this right. People from Japan are more likely to wear masks when they're sick. That is just a part of their culture. Where in the US, it's tooth and nail. And then, but also I'm curious. So the spread will already be, I guess, better then, because more people would be wearing masks anyway. But also I'm just wondering, because the US has basically given up on COVID at this. Not basically, the US has given up on COVID responses at this point, but I wonder how the Japan is. So maybe it still warrants them putting that disclaimer because in Japan, they still are taking it seriously. Either way, that is a complete tangent. I probably shouldn't have brought it up because there is a lot to cover from this near 43-minute Direct, and I'm excited about a lot of it. First, they opened up with Pikmin 4. It looks really cute. They've changed the angle that you're viewing the game at. I think it looks really good. I've watched Let's Plays of Pikmin 1 and 2. It's a series I've always wanted to get into, but just never did. I bought a Wii version of Pikmin 2. Never got 3 for the Wii U or the Switch at this point, but I mean, it looks great. I love the ideas of these games. I really want to play them. Right now, I am in the process of thinking about if I want to do another in review series after Mario finishes up, and Pikmin, maybe not on the front line, but I'm definitely interested in doing something like it. Either way, Pikmin 4 looks really good. They have a cute doggy-like thing. I have in all caps written out, doggy! And the story looks like it's more of like a rescue mission where they go through, try to rescue people who have gotten lost somehow, and then collecting trinkets again instead of 3 fruits. And also there's night missions, so that's pretty neat. That's coming out 7/21/2023. Next, they talked about the Xenoblade DLC. Now I'll just write what I wrote. I really should play the Xenoblade games, but I'd want to start at the beginning and somehow get Chronicles X for the Wii U, and that's hundreds of hours, so I really should play the Xenoblade games. Anyway, the DLC is releasing 2/15, so that's pretty soon. Samba de Amigo is still alive, I guess. It looks like an interesting rhythm game, but it's using the gyro sensors in the Joy-Cons, and I don't have too much experience with that, but I will say when I'm playing Taiko Drum Master with the motion controls, it just feels bad. I'm constantly missing notes that I definitely didn't miss, and so I'm not too hopeful that Samba de Amigo will work with those better, but that's coming out. Then there's a Fashion Dreamer game. I just wrote I Mimir next to that, and also I pulled out the quote, or suggest new items to grow as an influencer, which just is awful. Just awful. Next, they talked about the Dead Cells Castlevania DLC. I've heard really good things about Dead Cells, but I never got around to playing it though. I should. Then there's a Tron game by Bithell Games. I hear Mike Bithell makes pretty good games. I'm not a Tron person. I've never watched any of the movies or played any of the games, but it's there. Then Ghost Trick. I heard fantastic things about Ghost Trick, and I really, really should pick this one up this summer when it releases. I really want to play Ghost Trick. It's one of those cult classics that I keep hearing fantastic things about, and also seeing really good fan art of the characters. I gotta know why people love that one so much. Then there's a police game called Deca Police. It's an anime virtual reality cop game, I guess. I wrote ACAB Goodnight, and then I marked down that it looks like. And then I marked down that I really don't need any propaganda. I don't need Japanese propaganda. I don't need any propaganda. So whatever. The Bayonetta prequel spin-off that they announced at the Game Awards got another showing. You control Bayonetta, who can't attack, and she has a little monster friend who does attack, and you pair up with them. It looks interesting. The art style is really fun. I love how it looks. I don't know if I'll actually pick it up though. Then here's where I got excited, like really excited for the first time, where they started talking about Splatoon. DLC, yes, DLC, yeah, boy, is what I wrote in my notes. And then I kind of got a little disappointed where the first DLC is they just brought back Inkopolis Square. Not even the single player of Inkopolis, just it's another hub you can go to now. Which, sure, I guess it's there. It'll be neat to hop in there and see the Squid Sisters perform during Splatfests. But, I mean, if that's it, if it's just a recoloring, basically, of the regular overworld map, then I'm sure whatever. That's coming out in spring. But later in the year, there's new DLC content. New DLC, what's probably going to be single-player content, and I'm so excited for that. We got flashes of Pearl and Marina. It looks like we're probably playing as Agent 8 again. I am pumped for that. The Splatoon 2 DLC and the Splatoon 3 single player I loved so much, and I just can't wait. It's set to, quote, launch in the future, but I'm excited. I'll be there day one when it comes out. Speaking of Splatoon, by the way, I am going to be on the dark chocolate side for this next Splatfest. I eat dark chocolate literally every day, including like an hour and a half ago when I started watching the direct. And I'm going to, probably not more anymore today, but I eat dark chocolate every day. Love dark chocolate, despite the fact that it's been poisoning me with heavy metals for the past 5 years or however long. That's beside the point. Anyway, moving on, they talked about Disney Illusion Island. I think that's the 4-player co-op game. And this is when I realized, because I was bored by the Disney one, I checked Twitter and I realized, wait, I'm just now realizing that Twitter broke right before this direct. Only like 4 people are able to tweet. Oh my god. Somehow Wario64 is still recapping this. I saw Hank Green say scheduling gets through. But seriously? Lol. It's back already by the time I'm recording this, but it was funny to watch it happen. Anyway, they talked about Fire Emblem Engage DLC, some story missions, some new characters. They do keep doing this thing where they call everything expansion passes. And I'm not a big fan of that. I don't know why. I can't express why I don't like the term expansion pass for DLC. Maybe I just feel like not every game needs expansion passes, and now every game seems to be getting them. And I don't like the term. I don't know why. Anyway, there he talked about Harmony, the Fall of Reverie. So at one point, I wrote, liking the OST, and then a second later they said, and the soundtrack is by Lena Raine. And I'm like, oh, that's why I like it. And look, I try to go anywhere Lena Raine goes, so I'm gonna try this out, and it's on Switch this time. I didn't get to Moonlight Valley? That sounds wrong. The fishing game that she did the soundtrack for. I didn't get to that one, but this one I probably will. Octopath Traveler 2 is just around the corner. Demo today. More Katamari. We Heart Katamari is getting a port plus some new levels on June 2nd. This is a day 1 purchase for me. I bought the first Katamari when it came out on the Switch some number of years ago, and I really love it, and I love the music, and I'm really excited to get these new levels that I've never played Wii Heart Katamari before, so I'm really excited to play those levels, plus I'm excited to see what new levels they do with. I love Katamari. We love Katamari. Get it? Because that's the name of the game. Sea of Stars is a really neat-looking turn-based RPG. I think it's sort of Chrono Trigger-y, Secret of Mana-y. Looks interesting. Odyssey Interactive is a not great-looking air hockey game. I don't even play much multiplayer games to begin with, so I'm never going to try that out. It looks like a bad Windjammer clone. Not exactly clone, but it looks like Windjammers if they did it poorly. So, Etrian Odyssey is getting ported to Switch. I've heard fantastic things, like truly fantastic things about Etrian Odyssey. And it's interesting how they're porting it to Switch. It looks like at a certain point, because the big thing about Etrian Odyssey is that as you explore the dungeon, you draw your own map. And that worked great when it was on a Nintendo DS. But now, it looks like you still draw the map, but it just covers up the right portion of the Switch screen, and I guess the TV screen, and then you use motion controls to draw. It looked really cumbersome, but I mean, it's going to be great for these games to be more widespread. At least you're able to get them again on a more modern console without piracy. It looks weird. It's coming out June 1st. I don't know, but I've heard great things about the game, so hopefully it translates well. And I thought this was funny. They're finally releasing the Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot camp. The game looks beautiful. I love the animation, the cutscenes that they were showing during the trailer. Beautiful. I love the art style. The animation looks great. Coming out April 21st. They finally decided to put that one out, I guess. Then they talked about Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe. They're putting new story content in the epilogue, which is interesting. Now, I watched a Let's Play of this game some time ago, but the story of the epilogue is about Magolor regaining his powers. And I kind of, from what I remember, is that a thing you would want to happen? And that's coming out on the 24th this month, which is way too soon. Oh my gosh, there's too many games to play. Now this is a part where I popped off again there, and Nintendo Switch Online is going to have a Game Boy version for the default payment method. So Tetris is coming out, Mario Land 2, but not 1 for some reason. Link's Awakening, Gargoyle's Quest, a game I've never heard of. Game & Watch Gallery 3, which, lol. Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare, I guess. Metroid 2, Wario Land 3, which is a series I should really play. Kirby's Dream Land, Kirby's always been good. And then you can also change the color version, so you can either do the original Game Boy, the Game Boy Pocket version, or the Game Boy Color version. And so that's really neat. And then this is where I really popped off. Game Boy Advanced is also coming to Switch Online. Expansion pack. But it's releasing with Mario Advanced 4 plus the e-reader, which is Mario Bros. 3. Pumped for that. I love that version of the game. It's the way I played Mario 3 as a kid. WarioWare, which I also love. I have a copy of that still. Kururin, which I've never heard of, but I bet it's good. Mario Kart Super Circuit, which I remember enjoying as a kid. I never played too much of it. Mario and freaking Luigi Superstar Saga. Let's go! I love one of my most favorite games ever. Cannot wait for that one, to replay that one, even though I own it already. Minish Cap is coming out. I need to get to that one. I've never played it. Metroid Fusion is coming eventually. It's not in this first wave, but finally there's going to be a way to play all of the Metroid games on Nintendo consoles again. Plus Golden Sun is also coming eventually. And this is going to be the thing that finally gets me to pay for Expansion Pass, which I'm not excited about. But I guess it was Game Boy. I guess that's what has the nostalgia hold on me, is Game Boy Advanced games. Oh, and both are coming out later today. Maybe already by the time this episode releases. Next, Metroid Prime Remaster has finally been announced. It's coming out today for the digital version and the 22nd for physical. I also wrote down, does this mean 4 is about to be re-announced too? No. No, it does not. I've never played Metroid Prime. I bought the collection for the Wii, the trilogy collection for the Wii from a friend a while ago, but I never played them. I want to play Prime Remaster. And it's out already. Oh my gosh, too many games. Then they talked about the Master Detectives Archives Rain Code, which is the game from the Danganronpa people. Betten Kaitos 1 and 2 are getting remasters. I'm sure these were well-loved RPGs from the GameCube, but and also it's a card game. I don't want to play a card game. Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, is this interesting-looking time-traveling Animal Crossing plus combat type game. It's a cute art style, at the least. I don't know how it's going to turn out. Also, it's definitely an interesting title. Professor Layton is back. This reminds me of a puzzle. I've actually only ever played a couple hours of a Professor Layton game, one of them for the DS, but I still love the concept of the series, and I'm so happy he's back. It's called The New World of Steam, and they showed basically nothing. It was like a 5-second trailer saying, Professor Layton's back. Either way, really excited about it. This also got a real big pop-off for me. They're putting a Yoshi's Island course in Mario Kart, which I couldn't be more excited for. Birdo's also returning. It's going to be releasing this spring. I love Mario Kart. The course looks beautiful. The music is great because it's Yoshi's Island music. I'm very excited for this course. I'm excited to see what other 3 courses are bundled with it. Then they did a run-through of a bunch of games. They showed Minecraft Legends, Blanc, which is the Deer and Fox black and white co-op game, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, Have a Nice Death, which is a cool 2D action platformer, WBSCE Baseball, which is a baseball game, Disney Dreamlight Valley DLC, and Tales of Symphonia Remastered. And then they closed out the show with the new Zelda trailer. And I'm already sold on the game. It's confirmed it's going to be $70, which it's fine. I'm going to try to get the collector's edition because that is who I am, apparently. Plus, there's a new amiibo coming along with it. Not with the collector's edition, but just in general, there's a new amiibo. The new trailer gave a little bit more story. I'm guessing Ganondorf was resurrected when Link and Zelda were exploring the depths. And now his resurrection has spurred on his enemies or his minions to rise and start pillaging the land, as well as destroying it, causing chunks of the land to rise up in the air. I don't know why that's there. We haven't been told yet. The weird thing is there's a bunch of different modes of travel. I guess they saw the acceptance of the motorcycle and thought, what if we did more? So now there's this weird looking car thing that may or may not be customizable. There's a neat-looking hovercraft, like a 4-propellered drone that Link can stand on. I think there were other things from the video as well. Anyway, it's the new Zelda. It's still coming out May 12th. Let's go. I'm going to be crafting my life around this specific launch. All in all, this was a fantastic Nintendo Direct. I really loved so much of the stuff they were talking about. It seems like it was almost curated for me, plus some other stuff for, I guess, other people, but I'm really happy with what they said. I kind of guessed there was Splatoon 3 DLC coming, but I'm still happy about it. Ghost Trick is I'm really happy that's coming back. Pikmin 4 is looking good. I should really play those. All around, a Mario Kart, of course. Kirby, I'm going to pick up Kirby already. Game Boy Advance games are coming onto Switch. Metroid Prime. So what a wonderful package. I'm excited for this game quite a bit. But let's move on to the rest of the news. First, I thought this was funny, but also really not great. I think yesterday, some student sent in an email to the professor trying to cancel class so that they could watch this Nintendo Direct. But the police took it as a bomb threat, which is super not cool, but also kind of funny. They interpreted the line, once-in-a-lifetime event, as a bomb threat, because a bomb goes off once, and that's the end of someone's life. Which, I mean, they responded correctly. The student really shouldn't have sent it in. It makes sense why why the police reacted this way, especially in today's climate of like mass shootings everywhere. It's not a great story, but it is darkly humorous. Luckily, I don't think anyone got hurt. There was no bomb, so it sucks that our country's like this, but also it's a little funny. In some heartwarming news, Nintendo says that despite Switch sales dropping by 20%, they will still be giving their employees a 10% pay raise. I thought this was really great. Even though Nintendo's making slightly less money, they are still giving their employees more to hopefully keep up with inflation a little bit. That's how you run a good company. You need to pay your employees, period. And it's crazy how many companies don't do that. And even with sales dropping that much, the Switch just became the third best-selling console of all time. So now the ranking is PlayStation 2 at 155 million units, the Nintendo DS at 154 million units, the Switch at 122 million units, the Game Boy at 118 million units, and the PlayStation 4 at 117 million units. I wonder how high the Switch is going to get. Nintendo seems to think that the console's lifespan is going to be still a couple more years. So will that be able to reach the Nintendo DS or maybe even the PlayStation 2? I don't think it will. It just dropped 20% this year. And with inflation, with costs rising and wages going down, I don't see, and plus the want for more people to have Switches, I don't see that number getting too much higher, but there's still a lot of Switches out there. To even get this close to the PlayStation 2 and the DS, that's a lot. To even beat the Game Boy, that's a lot. So the Switch has been a massive success for Nintendo. Speaking of making well-earned profits, Bay 12, the folks behind Dwarf Fortress, have earned $7.2 million after releasing the game on Steam. And that's just wonderful. It's not the type of game that I am going to play, but I'm really happy Dwarf Fortress exists. I'm really happy the people who are going to sink into it are sinking into it this much. Like, there were people literally waiting to give this company $20 when it released on Steam, and it's just beautiful. I think they've been running this company for a decade, making this passion project, and I think it's great that they're able to do it. What is also wonderful is that Meta, the parent company of Facebook, lost $13.7 billion last year on Reality Labs, their VR stuff. Lol. Get owned, losers. I don't like Meta. I don't like Facebook. I don't like their VR wing because it's owned by Meta and Facebook. And so it's funny to see them hemorrhaging money on Mark Zuckerberg's dumb idea. Go to hell. In some sort of follow-up from last week, like 2 days after it came out that I wrote this poorly. 2 days after it was announced that a bunch of online service games were getting shuttered, Knockout City, the dodgeball multiplayer game, is also being shuttered. This one had some good news, at least. Velan Studios came out and said that the reason they were shuttering it wasn't because the game wasn't doing well, but because the studio needed to shutter so that it could continue to grow and work on their next venture. Plus, they'll be releasing an update that will allow for private servers so that it'll live forever on the PC if people want to run their own servers, and that should really be the default for all of these things. It's still sad for the people who liked playing this dodgeball game aren't going to be able to play it like on the Switch anymore, but at least they're doing that much. And it also seems that that's the similar reason, wanting to grow and move on to the next project, is why Turtle Rock Studios is shuttering Back 4 Blood as well. And I never played either of those games, but I hope the people who did enjoyed them while they could, and at least people still can enjoy Knockout City. Not sure if Back 4 Blood is doing the same thing. Hopefully they are. And finally, some truly heartbreaking news. I've only heard fantastic things about Titanfall 2. I bought it I bought it a few months ago when it was on sale. I haven't gotten around to it just yet. The story of my life. But what many have claimed to be the best single-player first-person shooter campaign ever was sent out to die. right in between that year's new Call of Duty and the new Battlefield. EA's own Battlefield, mind you. Then the devs at Remedy fought back. They put out Apex Legends, from what I hear is a great game. One's to rival games like Fortnite or PUBG. Then they put out Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, the only successful Star Wars game EA was able to put out when they owned the license, plus the sequel, which is coming out in a couple of months. But EA just sucks. They can't run a game publisher. They just can't stand the idea of people playing a game and not spending every cent they have on it. So, just recently, they quietly canceled an Apex Legends and Titanfall Remedy single-player first-person shooter game that they had been working on. It's just such a shame. Even as a really big Star Wars fan, one who is very excited for the next Jedi game, EA, trust your studios. Trust that they'll be able to make something good and profitable, even if it's not infinitely profitable. I bet their next game, after Apex got huge and Titanfall had become a cult classic, would have been very popular and very good. But EA never gave it the chance, and we'll never see it. And my heart goes out to all the Titanfall fans. You all truly deserve better than this. And I think that's going to be it for this week's episode. I'm already pushing up the amount of time I have to edit this together. So I will not be talking about things I've been doing. So next week, hopefully I remember to talk about my experience building a PC, watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Stone Oceans Part 2 and 3, or the last 2/3 of the show, and The Last of Us show. And maybe if I play any other games, I want to play Hi-Fi Rush in that time. So next week will be a pretty big on what I've been doing. Hopefully there won't be too much news, or that I just have more time to edit it. But that is all for this week's episode. So I hope you have enjoyed. If you would like to, you can follow me on the social links that I have, which are posted in the show notes. If you'd like to leave a rating somewhere, you can leave a thumbs up and maybe a comment on the YouTube version, or leave an iTunes rating. I hear that does good. I guess. And I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.